Hey everyone, welcome back to another weekly series by Scythe where we dive into different threats by consuming cyber threat intelligence, creating adversary emulation plans, and sharing those plans with the security community. So the first scenario we'll be exploring is one where FIN6 targets POS systems. This one's a little bit shorter than the other variants we'll be going through, but here we can actually see that it looks to execute, persist, and exfiltrate on these point-of-sale systems. Now for persistence, we'll actually go and add registry keys, example ones of course, to stay in line with our philosophy of creating non-destructive emulations. But we'll also go and create scheduled tasks as well as a service, Windows Help Assistant here, as well as downloading files such as PuTTY and using that as a scheduled task. And then we'll finally go ahead and clean up after ourselves by deleting all of these keys, tasks, and services just so that we can stay clean and non-destructive for our emulation. Now, for our second scenario, this is where FIN6 goes and attacks e-commerce platforms. This is also known as the Mage Cart Group 6 activity, where they were responsible for targeting high-volume e-commerce sites and exfiltrating that payment data to an infrastructure of theirs. Now, they've had a great deal of success injecting their Mage Cart scripts. What we did is we took those suspicious scripts and actually we put them on a virtual file system so that FIN6 here, or the emulation, could go ahead and download it. Hopefully maybe this might flag something in the security controls. But for this second scenario, we go ahead and load in our modules. We still do the same thing where we actually go and add a registry key, add scheduled tasks. But here it's where it gets a little different, where we go and download these JavaScript files. One is for British Airways, the other one was seen for the new egg payment processing page where this JavaScript was injected. And then we go and actually test for exfiltration, where we go and just zip up all the files that we downloaded, make it into a zip file and upload it before actually going ahead and cleaning up. So that would be FIN6 scenario 2. So last but not least, we have our scenario 3 for FIN6, which is something similar to what we've seen in other threats. This one is our ransomware scenario. So this one's a little bit interesting because it uses something called kill.bat. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this automation. First, we'll go ahead and load our modules as usual, as well as adding our registry key, as well as scheduled tasks. This is something that all FIN6 will do. But now we have step 10, where we have this thing called kill.bat. And what this batch file does is that it goes ahead and disables security products and alters firewall configurations on Windows. Now, obviously, because we want to stay non-destructive, we won't go ahead and run it, but we've added strings from FIN6 into this batch file, and we'll download it, and hopefully this will flag something from the security controls. Next, we'll go into our standard procedure for all of our ransomware emulations. We load in the necessary capabilities such as file, search, uploader, encrypt. We'll go ahead and create files here in this FIN6 folder. Target files, size 5 megabytes, and there's 10 of them with all random bytes. We'll go ahead and search for all 10 of these before we actually go and compress them, test for exfiltration by uploading them into our exfil.zip, and then we'll actually go and encrypt them so that we can actually test for that behavior as well before finally cleaning up by deleting the registry key, the scheduled task, as well as the entire folder for FIN6 with our ransomware example files. But that pretty much sums it up for this week's FIN6. Now, we hope, as always, that you were able to learn something. Definitely follow us on Twitter at Scythe_IO, or keep updated via our library for our Threat Thursdays. This week, we also want to just give a quick shout out to MITRE's Center for Threat Informed Defense. They have a great write-up on FIN6. If you want to check that out, they have their version of their emulation, which is something that we also took information from and used it to understand FIN6 a little bit more. But otherwise, thanks so much for listening and watching with us and learning about adversarial emulations with us. We hope you have a great holiday season. Thanks.